Let's talk about love. Not just the feeling, but the story. The big, powerful, perfect story that we've kind of been sold our entire lives. In this explainer, we're going to pull that story apart, piece by piece, and see what's really inside.
You know this image, right? The perfect couple, the perfect sunset. It's the last scene of the movie, it's the cover of the romance novel. This is basically the cultural script for love that we've all been taught to want. It's supposed to be the ultimate prize.
But what if this whole idea, this powerful image, is just a really well-packaged fantasy? And maybe more importantly, what if chasing that fantasy is actually getting in the way of finding real, lasting love?
Okay, so let's start by unpacking this illusion. Because our ideas about love, they don't just come from nowhere. They are heavily shaped, maybe even manufactured, by media and culture, which gives us this super exaggerated ideal of passionate love.
I mean, just look at this scene. The champagne, the roses, the whole candlelit dinner thing. It feels so familiar, doesn't it? These aren't just objects, they're symbols. They've become the official checklist for real romance, moments that have been sold to us as proof of love. It can almost turn an emotion into a performance.
And the media, especially rom-coms, gives us a very specific blueprint for how this is all supposed to go down. It's built on these tropes, right? Love at first sight, the dramatic airport chase, the idea that constant fighting is just a sign of how passionate you are. And it always ends with the happily ever after, as if all the hard work is done, when, let's be real, that's where it actually begins.
And this really gets to the heart of the problem. Real, sustainable love isn't about a handful of cinematic, over-the-top moments. It's actually built in the quiet, everyday stuff, the consistent support, the small kindnesses, the partnership. All the moments the movies usually cut out.
So is that initial crazy in love feeling totally fake? No, not at all. It's a very real biological state, and it has a name: limerence. Your brain gets flooded with chemicals like dopamine and oxytocin, creating this incredible euphoric high. It feels amazing. But here's the crucial part. It's temporary. It's the spark designed to get two people to notice each other, not the fire that's going to keep them warm for years.
So what happens when we mistake that temporary high for the entirety of love? Well, that's when the fantasy starts to show its dark side. Chasing that initial feeling, and only that feeling, can lead us down some pretty dangerous paths.
And it leads to this really jarring but critical idea: the dehumanization of intimacy. See, when your main goal is to capture a fantasy, the other person stops being a person. They risk becoming, an object, a character in your movie, there to play a role rather than to be a real, complex, messy human being.
And the fallout from that is huge. We end up with these wild, unrealistic expectations that no real person could ever meet. We start to look at stable, ordinary love and think it's boring or that we've settled. This creates this constant anxiety: is this person the one? And ultimately, it leads to people being less satisfied in perfectly good relationships, all because they don't look like the movie.
Now, this is where it gets truly dangerous. The media often takes really unhealthy, toxic behaviors and rebrands them as romantic. A character's controlling behavior is just protective care. Extreme jealousy gets sold to us as intense passion. This stuff can seriously skew our perception of what's acceptable versus what is actually a massive red flag.
And this really hits the nail on the head. If someone is just an object to you, an object to give you that in-love feeling, or sex, or social status, then their humanity doesn't really matter. That mindset makes it so much easier to disrespect, manipulate, or just throw them away. It's a direct result of chasing a fantasy instead of connecting with a person.
Okay, so if the Hollywood version is a fantasy, what does the real thing look like? Well, the source material offers this beautiful metaphor. Love isn't a destination you arrive at, it's a fire that you actually have to tend to.
I absolutely love this comparison. That initial passionate love, the limerence we talked about, that's the kindling. It's bright, it's hot, it catches fire super fast, but it also burns out just as quickly. Companionate love, on the other hand, is the log. It takes longer to catch, but it provides a steady, warm glow that can last for a very long time. A healthy fire needs both, but it survives on the logs, not just the kindling. And this is the key. That initial spark is wonderful. It really is. But it's this deeper connection, this companionate love, that provides the lasting warmth and security that a real partnership is built on. It's less like a flash of lightning and more like a reliable, warm hearth in your home.
So what is that slow-burning log actually made of? It's these things: friendship, mutual respect, shared values, trust,
communication. These are the core building blocks. And notice how different they are from the media tropes we saw earlier. They're not flashy or dramatic. They are deep, quiet, and incredibly strong.
Okay, so, knowing all of this, what do we do? How do we stop being actors in a scripted romance and actually become the authors of our own authentic love stories? This final section gives us a really practical way forward.
Here are 4 key steps. First, enjoy that initial spark. It's a gift, but recognize it for what it is, temporary. Don't bet your whole future on it. Second, as that initial high starts to fade, look for the bridge. What's being built underneath? Is there a real friendship forming? Is there respect? Third, understand that in a long-term relationship, passion becomes a verb. It's something you do, not just something you feel. And finally, stay self-aware. Know your own tendencies so you can enjoy the passion without getting totally lost in the fantasy.
This is such a powerful idea to wrap things up. Love isn't some treasure you just find. It's a capacity you develop within yourself. It's a skill you practice. It's an active art that really requires us to look past that perfect fantasy and connect with the real, complex, and beautifully imperfect person standing right in front of us.
So, that's the final question this whole thing leaves us with, and it puts the power right back in your hands. After all the movies, all the songs, all the pressure, who's really writing your story? Are you just following a script that someone else wrote? Or are you the one picking up the pen?